Hello and welcome to episode 34, is it?
Yes, 34.
Of the CANAS podcast. Last week we had another lost episode. My computer decided to crap out yet again. I think it is time for a new computer.
I think so too. I think you have to go to PC instead of Mac.
I had a PC. The first one was a PC and it crapped out. The second one was a Mac.
Well,
yeah, I know.
I don't know what to tell you then.
We should just go to like one of the highway, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Anyways. This week, we'll talk about the last 2 weeks a little bit, I guess.
Oh, the free agency? In the NHL?
Free agency in the NHL, yeah. We had two majors, one in golf, a men's and a women's. Very good result in one of them, and decent result in the other.
Yep.
And then nothing's happened in basketball. Baseball had some pretty big stuff happen. Yeah.
Especially
nothing in football.
Yesterday? No, 2 days ago.
Yeah, on like the Friday.
Yep, Friday night. It was Friday night, yeah.
So, I guess we'll start. Let's start with golf.
Okay.
Start with golf. The world of soccer, there's nothing really going on right now. The women's Euro is happening right now. That's a really high level of football, but obviously Canada's not in Europe, so we're not going to talk about that much. Canada did lose 1-0 to the States in the finals of the CONCACAF Championship, so they have to play against Jamaica.
In the women's, right?
In the women's, yeah. So they have to play against Jamaica to qualify for the Olympics in Paris.
Which is kind of weird because
you would think that the
champion immediately goes through.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
Oh well. Oh well. And then what else? All right, so golf. Let's start with men real quick.
Let's start with golf and then you just talk about soccer. So.
Yeah, well, I was going to say we usually start with soccer, but we don't have anything about soccer. That's what I was trying to get at. But golf. Corey Connors played in the Open, the British Open, and he made it to the finals. He made the cut, so he played all 4 rounds. He played under par, just not bad.
Still good.
But nowhere close to the winning. No. However, on the women's side, on the Sunday of recording, Brooke Henderson went in with a 2-shot lead. Had a pretty poor third round, to be honest with you. Not great. She shot 64 and a 64. Mm-hmm. Like 2 phenomenal rounds. She's at 14 under heading into round 3, where she shot 3 under, so she's at 17 under with a 2-shot lead, and then has 3 over in the front 6, and then loses her lead right away. So with that, she was playing catch up all day when she had the advantage, and heads into the 18th green, or into the 18th hole, tied for the lead at 16 under. The girl ahead of her had a birdie putt to get the lead, but missed it by an inch, and Henderson had a birdie putt and crushed it. So she ended up winning the Eguren Championship in France. In France. And Brooke Henderson is a 2-time major winner, 12-time winner on tour.
Nice. And
is the all-time winningest Canadian golfer in history.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Unbelievable talent, man. She's so good. She stripes that ball so well. Her putting is what usually lets her down, which is what's been happening the last couple of years, unfortunately, but she's an exceptional ball striker. So good at golf.
Also, we can, I guess, since we were talking about the LPGA and them being in France, the French Grand Prix happened.
Oh, good segue.
Yeah.
Good segue.
We weren't going to talk about it because our Canadian drivers weren't doing so well, but since we were talking about France, I can say Stroll did get into the points. He did finish 10th, which is pretty funny because he was like a minute and 2 seconds behind the winner, Verstappen. Everyone was basically like 10 seconds or slower compared to Verstappen. So Verstappen crushed it. But since we're a Canadian podcast, Stroll did finish 10th, which is good. He got a point, but at least he got into the points. And then Latifi did not finish, which is not really surprising for Latifi, but that's what we have for our Canadian drivers, I guess.
Fair enough.
So,
not bad.
Not bad.
I don't think I know I'm going to win a race this year.
No. Was that one of my...
It's either that or podium, and neither is happening.
No. We can go to baseball now, I guess.
Well, I was going to say, that's another good segue, Saul. You're the king of segues today. Well done.
Apparently.
The Blue Jays, my prediction to make the World Series this year. Rough, decent start, rough middle. Since the All-Star break, their bats are on fire. And they broke a franchise record for most runs in a game.
Almost.
And they broke it by the 5th inning. Yeah, almost league. What was the league record?
30.
Oh, so close. If they would have kept on trying, I don't know, man. 28-5 against the Boston Red Sox.
It's against
And they had their
the Red
ace.
Sox too.
And they had their ace starting.
Which is even more crazy. Man, and then did you see Tapia's inside the park grand slam?
So I'm so confused about that one. So you can see that he thinks that it's going to be caught. The second he realizes it's not going to get
He
caught.
just turned on the jets and just kept running.
Yeah. Just absolutely insane, dude. Absolutely insane. But the center fielder for the Red Sox literally didn't even move afterwards.
No, he just started walking to the ball while his left fielder ran to the ball and picked it up.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
But yeah, 28-5. That's crazy.
That's sick. Like, did a position player pitch that day at all?
I don't know.
It should have. You're losing by 23 innings.
Might as
by
well.
23 runs. Actually, for they were, I think it was 14 to 15 nothing to start. I'm like, okay. Oh no, the comeback's starting. Like,
Oh, well, that's crazy. But yeah, hopefully they keep up this momentum and finish strong, so they can make at least the playoffs and then kind of go from there because anything can happen.
absolutely
in the playoffs.
agree. They still need starting pitching help.
Oh yeah.
And they still need relief arms too. They
You
need
know
at
when
least
the
2
deadline
each.
is?
In a couple weeks, I think.
Okay, so they should definitely hammer down on getting more
Yeah, they
pitching.
need a couple arms for sure.
Because defense, like position players and bats are fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pitching is kind of hindering us.
Yeah, pitching's always tough for them. I guess let's just finish off because the biggest news is in the NHL, dude. The free agency,
Okay.
a bunch of trades have been going on.
Let's start with the first week. So basically, it started off with for Canadian teams, Edmonton re-signing Kane to 5-year. No,
It's 4 year,
4-year,
5.125,
yeah.
something like that.
and then signing Jack Campbell to a 5-year 5. Kulak to a 4-year. I'm guessing
4 year, 2.75.
Yeah, 4-year 2.75. So right there, we basically kept the players that we need, and signed Campbell, but kept the players that we needed to keep in order to keep playing well in the.
I agree. We're still
in our
missing some
division.
defense. I think we're missing a fourth line, a couple fourth liners, but apart from that, I think we're good. We're the betting favorites to win the Pacific this year. We're the betting favorites to make it to the. We're second favorites to make it to the Cup final this year.
Second favorites?
Yeah, behind Colorado, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, it's there. You know what? Listen, I really want to talk about Calgary though.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Calgary lost Gaudreau.
Yeah.
And at one point, it was looking very bleak
And
because they were going to lose.
yeah, we thought
they were
they
losing
weren't gonna
Kachuk.
do
100%, they were losing Kachuk. Now they don't. Brad Treliving, what he got in the return for Kachuk.
That was crazy.
I understand they're both pending UFAs,
But still.
but unfreaking believable. He gets a top 10 player in the NHL in Jonathan Huberdeau.
He gets a really good top 4 defenseman in Uyghur.
And I was looking at the top 4 defensemen in the league. In the right defenseman in the league. Uyghur would be the number 1 right D on more than half the NHL teams.
Oh, definitely. That's
Uyghur
true.
is an exceptional player, and both Canadian, realizing that Americans don't like playing in Canada too often. So that's huge. They went from not being I honestly thought they were not going to make the playoffs
I thought they were
anymore
going
last
to be
year.
at least 3rd.
They're finishing first or second again this year.
Definitely.
There's no question.
No.
100 points is very realistic.
Like, they do need to try to get another player to, Gaudreau or Kachuk level, because they only have one in Huberdeau.
Well, they have Lindholm.
No, but Lindholm has always been, one of their top players. But they're basically Gaudreau and Kachuk are gone, but they picked up Huberdeau, so they just need one more kind of to that level, or at least close, and then basically they have the same team. Mm-hmm. They definitely improved their defense with Uyghur, and then, which also that was probably one of their weaknesses in the season, I guess, was their defense. Mm-hmm. Compared to what their offense was doing, and then Markstrom during the season was crazy. So
yeah, no, Calgary's a great team, but think about it this way: losing Gaudreau and Kachuk for nothing at one point, that would have been detrimental to them.
Like it was gonna happen like that, yeah. And I don't know how he got Huberdeau Uyghur, a prospect, and then a conditional first.
So
do you know what the conditions are?
I think it's lottery protected.
That's it.
I think so.
So basically, yeah, they just improved their team a lot, and they basically got a first round pick for just Kachuk.
Bill Zito took a Stanley Cup contender to maybe a playoff team.
I can still see them making the playoffs, but
yeah,
they're
but
not
look at all the trades they've made the last little bit. They got rid of 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, they don't.
Owen Tippett.
Yeah.
2 prospects. Huberdeau.
And now they don't have Giroux because
they don't have Giroux. They got Tkachuk. The only one they got out of it was Tkachuk. And they got the Chariot, whatever you call him.
Chariot.
Bill Zito, they were like, Oilers fans were livid that they didn't hire Zito instead of Holland. So I hope they realize that Holland is a good GM now.
Well, at least better than Zito.
Holland is a good GM. Like, look what he's doing with this team. When he took over, the guy had legitimately 5 NHL players, man. 5 NHL players. And now his full I would say 90% of his roster is an NHL player on the entire league. Except for McDavid. Maybe he doesn't crack some teams. No, man. All right. Vancouver has done nothing since the first week. They bolstered their offense.
And that's it.
But their defense is still an atrocity.
I
do you remember when they were saying Quinn Hughes was going to be as good as Cale Makar?
Yep.
Do you remember when they were Vancouver was trying to comment that Quinn Hughes is better than Cale Makar?
Yep.
Do you think that's
at first when I got that year's hockey cards, I'm like, oh my god, I got Quinn Hughes. He's going to be so good. He's good, but...
He's good, but he's nowhere near. Yeah. He's nowhere near.
No, but... He can't carry the team by himself. Demko can't carry the team by himself.
No.
And if...
JT Miller will be traded this year. There's no way. Vancouver has to look at how Calgary did with Gaudreau and how they lost everything. They didn't get anything from Gaudreau leaving.
Calgary was super lucky to get Huberdeau in the Tkachuk trade.
That tree living trade was genius because he's realizing, okay, I'm not losing my star again. I'm not going to lose a star for nothing.
And if he does, if they don't re-sign, then at least they have a chance to in the playoffs for Huberdeau and Weegar. But if they're not making the playoffs, then they still have Huberdeau and Weegar to trade, and they'll get a lot back for those two too. So. Mm-hmm. So that was basically a perfect trade.
So they 100%. They need to look into first off, they need to go for it in the playoffs. They are. This is a good enough.
We're going
team.
back to Calgary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, because that's what you're talking about.
No, I'm saying you were talking about JT Miller, they have to trade him, and then I was like, right. They should do what.
Well, 100%. And so both of them, Calgary and Vancouver, need to really look at themselves and see if they're legitimate cup contenders. I think Calgary will be. I think Vancouver will not. Now, truthfully, I don't actually think Calgary makes it out of the second round. I think Calgary might even lose in the first round to a Vegas if they're there. Or LA. LA's gonna be a good team this year.
LA's gonna be a good team. Yeah.
Yeah. So all that stuff, they should look. Yeah, really take a look at them because there's nothing worse than losing them for nothing when you know at the beginning of the year that might happen.
Yeah.
So they need to fight hard to sign Huberdeau. Huberdeau's not happy about the trade apparently.
Really?
Yeah. They need to fight hard to sign Weegar.
We're moving from Florida, which is basically a paradise for hockey players because there's
no taxes or anything. Yeah.
To Calgary, which is
paradise
for us. Calgary is just
it's Calgary.
It's Calgary. Is okay.
Truthfully, the rink sucks. That's a big thing. The it's a beautiful city.
Beautiful city.
It's
not so good.
It's not the coldest place on earth. It is. I don't understand how people just don't Winnipeg would be the worst city to go to as an American player.
Yeah.
Which is a good segue. The Jets.
They absolutely nothing.
They need to go full on rebuild. They saw what Tkachuk got.
Oh, they should jump on that.
They should be trading. What's their face?
Wheeler and
Scheifele. Wheeler and Scheifele. Scheifele gets you a similar return to Tkachuk, I would think. Probably a little bit less.
A little bit less because he's older.
Yeah.
But they did sign Dubois to 1 year, $6 million.
Yeah, but that takes him to UFA. Yeah. So.
Well, like you said, Dubois wanted, he is not going to resign, but at least.
So they need to trade over the deadline.
Yeah.
Is what needs to be done. He needs to go at the deadline.
Winnipeg should just focus on not tanking because that shouldn't happen regardless.
No, but you have Arizona and Buffalo who are tanking every single day, every single year, and they I would like other teams to not stress about winning this year. It's Connor Bedard, man. Connor Bedard is a generational talent.
Yeah. So they should focus on getting as much as they can for Wheeler and Scheifele.
I still think Hellebuck should be traded. I think Hellebuck is the biggest piece that they possibly
They will
have.
definitely get a lot for Hellebuyck.
He will be their biggest return by far.
Oh, yeah.
And it won't even be close.
No.
There are some good prospects. There's some very good prospects.
Yeah. They did sign Big Save Dave, so they can, I guess they can afford to trade Hellebuyck for and get as much as they can. Because, Jets, they have, like, as much as I like the Jets, they have to.
Truthfully,
they have to start rebuilding.
There is no team in the NHL right now that needs
to rebuild
Bedard more than the Winnipeg Jets. For the fan base, they have him under control for how long?
Yes.
They need it for the fan base and needed all that kind of stuff. So the NHL, they like to, control things, maneuver things, and do that kind of stuff and manipulate things. This is the year where you manipulate the Jets to win the lottery. There's no team that's going to benefit more from having
Connor
Bedard more than the Jets. Like, it can't be Arizona. Like, Arizona is such a deadbeat team.
Yeah, like they're not going to go anywhere, especially with their 5,000 seat arena that they're sharing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
that's a mockery to hockey. Hey, that arena is going to be an absolute disaster.
Do they expect to like get more fans because it'll look like it's a sellout crowd, and then it's just like
I'm willing to bet they don't even sell out this year.
Oh, I don't think so either. And then Buffalo is trending upwards, so that's good and well deserved for the fans too, because they've been suffering probably longer than us Oilers fans. In that decade of darkness.
Yeah.
So
those poor fans, man. I definitely feel bad for them.
Yeah. Toronto, they did sign really good players, or pretty good players, and Samsonov, and then they got Matt Murray in a trade with Ottawa.
They are counting on the tandem to be. If that tandem is as good as it can be, Toronto's going to be a very dangerous team. If that tandem is how they're likely going to be, Toronto could potentially not even make the playoffs.
Yeah. Basically they're gambling all on their goalies. Because their defense is good, their offense is great. But if the goalies don't play as well as they used to, I guess for Matt Murray, Samsonov's just playing as well as he has been playing, then could be a lot of angry Maple Leafs fans this year. If that happens,
if this year they don't win a couple rounds, Dubas is out.
Oh, that's
and there's no other way around it. And I don't think a lot of this is Dubas' fault. I mean, the Marner was way too much money.
Tavares,
Nylander was way too much money. Tavares is way too much money. I guess the cap management of that team is pretty bad, to be honest with you. But that is such a good team, dude, and they're going nowhere. And that division just got stronger too. Like Florida got a lot weaker, in my opinion.
But Ottawa,
Tampa Bay stay the same.
Go to Ottawa.
Holy cow, man! That is a team this year. Like, they're missing defense for sure, but they have unbelievable goaltending tandem right now, in my opinion.
Right? Like,
they have a legit 1A and 1B.
Yeah,
and Talbot's motivated like crazy to prove that he's a starter in the NHL still.
Yep, they did send Giroux, like we mentioned.
They traded for DeBrincat.
They traded for DeBrincat, which is also crazy. Mm-hmm. And then they re-signed Norris, which was huge too. So Ottawa, if they play better defensively, they could be a scary team to watch.
They absolutely need better defense though.
Yeah.
I mean, Thomas Chabot, however, is.
I was gonna say, like, Ottawa, when they had Carlson, was basically just Carlson, and they did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, they had a decent top four though. Like, decent. You can't in this league. You cannot, like, it's proven so many times. You can't win with just one or two superstars. Edmonton. We've only had McDavid and Draisaitl for 4 years, and we did nothing for how many of it, right? I mean, we had the decent support of it, like Nuge and Nurse and that, but like still, it's a whole team that needs to win. So,
and then now that we have like Hyman and Kane, then there's more supporting pieces for those two, and then look what happened last year. Besides that little bump in the road in the middle, but
Ottawa's gonna be unreal. Ottawa is going to be within 5 to 10 points of a playoff spot at least, if not contending for it. Boston got worse too, so it's like Ottawa's going to be a powerhouse, I think, this year. I don't think they're going to win the cup by any means, and I don't think they're going to win a round, but I do think that they're going to make it to the playoffs.
They're going to improve big time this year compared to last year.
They're making the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a bold prediction that I'm making. They are making the playoffs. And another bold prediction is the Canadian team's winning the cup this year. And it's going to be
we
one
already made our bold predictions. You can't.
No, but like what I'm saying for the NHL specific season,
okay,
like NHL specifically, it's going to be one of Calgary, Toronto, or Edmonton will win the cup this year, and Ottawa's making the playoffs. We will have 4 NHL team or any Canadian teams in the playoffs for sure.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah.
Anywho, and then let's talk about Montreal. You know how they usually say last but not least, but this is definitely the least. That is a bad team.
So they traded Petrie, so they basically weakened their.
No, defense. But the defender they got back from Matheson is a top 4 defenseman.
But then that's basically for sure. It.
Yeah, they don't have much else. Kirby Dach was a big trade.
Kirby Dach was good, but I'm just more worried about the defense because they basically don't have anything besides Matheson.
Yeah,
because they traded Petrie, they traded Kulak, they traded Sherrod, they traded Lehkonen.
Well, Lehkonen is a forward.
No, Lehkonen is a forward. But they traded those guys, and
that's going to be a bottom 3 team in the league this year again, for sure. Yuri Slavkovsky will not be playing in the NHL this year, from my understanding, which is good. We get him to develop his men over in Europe, and then come back next year when they have Connor Bedard. Like again, Connor Bedard is I don't know. Just whoever wins the lottery this year is set for decade.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing those. Like Winnipeg and Montreal can't do. They have to trade to get more assets and just build for the future again.
Like both of their teams have awful defense. Montreal more so than Winnipeg.
Yeah, no.
Winnipeg can still somewhat contend if their defense plays the way that they did like 2 years ago for a playoff spot, but like that division has Colorado, St. Louis. Minnesota got worse, but it's only because they have $20 million dead cap space.
Yes. Nashville improved.
Nashville improved a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, by a significant margin.
Then there's those. Yeah, there's 3 right there, and then maybe Minnesota. Like if I don't know, Minnesota may have. They did get a little worse, but then I can still see them and Dallas. Dallas was doing well last year, and then they didn't do that much this year, but they're still a pretty strong team.
Yeah, that defense that team is actually not as good as the playoffs proved last year.
Yeah,
it's their goalie is just outstanding. Played the only reason that they made it that far.
Yeah. So basically, there's only 3 making it in the Pacific, and then the other teams are probably in the Central. But Winnipeg can't compete with the other teams in the Central, really, unless they played like they played from 2 years ago instead of last year.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, those 2 teams, Montreal and Winnipeg, will be in tough, so they should start rebuilding. Vancouver just has to try to improve their defense, and then they should be okay.
100%. That defense is an atrocity, dude. It's so bad. They don't have another NHL defenseman apart from Quinn Hughes. Maybe OEL, but like OEL's a bottom pairing defenseman in every team in the league right now.
The OEL from the past. So, and that contract is just gross.
Truthfully, at the end of the day, though, we can't necessarily get upset with the players about their contracts.
No.
I like to base them solely on their abilities.
On their play, yeah.
And
no, but like for like the team in general to improve, they can't really with that contract.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Who do you think the first coach to get or first team to fire their coach is going to be this year?
Canadian?
I don't know if a Canadian team will fire their coach because they're all new or
just signed.
Yeah,
I don't see a Canadian team. Yeah, like you said, because Winnipeg.
Toronto's the only one, but Dubas would be fired before Keefe.
Out of Canadian teams, I would say Toronto. If Murray and what's his face Samsonov aren't playing like they're supposed to, I can see Keefe leaving.
And who do you think is going to be the first team to make a major trade of the Canadian teams? Like, I mean major. Like, I mean like Kane to Edmonton, or Huberdeau away from the Flames, or Scheifele out, or like Price being traded.
Like before the trade deadline, or like around maybe the trade deadline.
The first team in the once the puck drops in the first game of the season, who's going to be the first one to make a trade?
A big trade, or just like a
big trade?
I want to say Edmonton, because if they're playing well towards the deadline, they would have. I would say I would go all in for Patrick Kane. If they're doing well up to the deadline, they have to go all in, like all in, to to win the cup and then just go for Patrick Kane. Give up whatever to just drastically improve your team. If he doesn't resign, that's fine, because it's Patrick Kane, he's American. So it's kind of like, kind of scary for now that like both American players in Calgary wanted to leave. So that's a scary thing to think about. But I would have to say a big trade, it would have to be it. I want to say Edmonton.
I'm going Winnipeg.
Like,
I think Scheifele is not on that roster by 2023.
I was thinking like big trade to improve their team, but yeah, I can see. I can see
I still
Winnipeg.
think losing Scheifele might not improve him now, but it's going to give him a future.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Winnipeg needs draft capital. Like, nobody's going to come to Winnipeg solely for, to play in that city. It's a tiny city. It's the coldest city in the entire league by far. They don't even have their own airport. Like, you need to draft the players to be able to play on that team. But anywho, who is your? You know what? Let's rename. Can we name this our award or that we hand out for the top performer of the week?
Okay.
Can we call it the Ben Stelter Performer of the Week? That way he'll always
be the Performer of the Week. Okay.
Yeah. So our Ben Stelter Performer of the Week. Who's it for you?
I'm gonna say Tree Living.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
With
what he got for Kachuk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he knew he was gonna lose Kachuk. Goes out, gets a top 10 forward in Huberdeau.
A top 10 right D in Uyghur.
Yep. And then a pretty good prospect and a first round pick for one person. That you have,
who didn't want to be there, by the way. They were dealing in a position of weakness.
Yes,
everyone knew that they were not going to keep him.
Like you and me thought they weren't going to get someone good because
I thought it would have been like a haul for Larson 1-for-1.
Yeah, like because everyone knew Kachuk didn't want to go. So like, why would we want to trade with you if you're trying to get rid of him, kind of thing. But he got those players and the draft pick out of a position of weakness, which is crazy. But yeah, he's my performer, my Ben Stelter Performer of the Week.
My Ben Stelter Performer of the Week will be Brooke Henderson, capturing her second major on the LPGA Tour.
How's it going?
Coming back, crushing the first 2 rounds, playing mediocre the third round, playing bad the fourth round, but still finding a way to win. That's huge. So my huge. Ben Stelter Performer of the Week will be Brooke Henderson.
That's a good one. Yeah. I like that one.
Anyways, thank you everybody for listening to the CANAS podcast episode this week. Hopefully we will be able to release it. Hopefully the computer decides to behave properly. So, I think that's everything for me, yes?
Yep.
Perfect. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Yep. See ya.